Welcome to Our World and Our World presentation.
Today we will be taking you through the literature, religion, arts, and traditions of Egypt.
I'm Walker.
I'm Jan.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Molly, and this is our presentation.
Egypt is part of both Africa and Asia. It is approximately 6,249 miles from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Egypt is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Gaza Strip and Israel to the northeast, the Red Sea to the east, Sudan to the south, and Libya to the west.
As of 2017, the population in Egypt is around 97.5 million people.
Cairo is the capital of Egypt. The four main parts of Egypt include Nile Valley, Delta, the Western Desert, the Eastern Desert, and the Sinai Peninsula.
Music and dance have played an important role in Egyptian culture for many years. Egyptians valued music and dance very highly. They used it as a way of communication to the gods and a response to the gift of life. The goddess Merit was closely associated with music and the creator. She used music to establish order. She was then the writer, musician, singer, and conductor of the Symphony of Creation, establishing music as a central value in Egyptian culture. The Egyptians have no sense of musical notation. The tunes they used were just passed down through generations. Some of the instruments involved were percussion, string, and wind instruments. Music and dance are used everywhere within the culture. They painted scenes of musical performances on the temple walls and on tombs. Dancing was also very common and popular in Egyptian culture. The dancers are a popular form of entertainment for the people. Dancing was associated equally with the elevation of religious devotion and human sexuality and earthly pleasures. Music and dance serve to evaluate participants in religious ceremonies towards a closer relationship with the gods or goddesses. The Menet necklace was a heavily beaded neckpiece which would be shaken in dance or taken off and rattled by hand during temple performances. Music and dance called upon the highest impulses of the human condition while also consoling people on the disappointments and losses in life. Dance and music at once elevated and informed not only one's present circumstance but the universal meaning of triumph and suffering. One fun fact is the famous poetic genre love songs comes from Egypt.
Egypt is a cosmopolitan or fusion of many cultures. Because of this, natives have a very friendly behavior towards tourists. It has been said that whenever you will ask something to an Egyptian, he will call some other people to discuss about the question and will try the best to offer you the correct answer. Family is also very important in Egyptian culture. The head of the family takes responsibility for the family and ensures it runs in a proper manner. Proper behavior is important, and family value and relation is important. Because of how family-oriented the country is, it is actually one of the safest places to travel alone. Of the traditions of Egypt, the holy month, or Ramadan, is important. This is a holiday where the people stay awake at night in prayer or spiritual activity, donate to charity, renew relationships, and share amenity and affection. Places of worship are sacred, and when entering, one must take off their shoes, and women must cover their heads. Other fun facts include Friday being the most sacred day of the week, the Western calendar being accepted as the norm, but others are also widely honored, and the variety of traditional foods that Egyptians create.
Egyptians were the first culture to develop the literature. Writing in ancient Egypt first appeared in the late 4th millennium BC. First examples include offering lists and autobiographies, which both were written in hieroglyphics. Most of ancient Egypt literature was written in hieroglyphics or hierarchic script. Hieroglyphics were used on monuments, while hierarchic script was used in writing on papyrus and ceramics. Middle Kingdom literature, classical age of Egyptian literature that used Middle Egyptian script, which is considered as the highest form of hieroglyphics, the one most often seen on monuments and other artifacts in museums in the present day. One of the greatest works of Middle Kingdom include The Dispute Between a Man and His Ba, considered the oldest text on suicide in the world. New Kingdom started in 1550 and ended in 712 BC. The active military campaigns to expand Egypt's borders influenced the content of the literature and art. Probably the best known piece of literature from New Kingdom texts is the Book of Coming Forth by Day, commonly known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The book was created to provide the soul of the deceased with a kind of a map to help guide and protect them in the land of the dead. In 30 BC, Egypt was annexed by Rome. Around the 4th century CE, Christianity rose to prominence in Egypt and the Christian Egyptians known as Copts, developed their own script, kind of a hybrid of Demotic Egyptian and the Greek. Soon after, the old texts of hieroglyphics and hieratic script were forgotten. Today's Egyptian literature is mostly focused on more standard literary works such as stories, legends, myths, and personal essays. It is possible that Egyptian texts or certain aspects inspired biblical narratives, which were then borrowed by later writers in their works. Egyptian history and so literature spans centuries and fills volumes of books, making the Egyptian literature an important piece in the literary works as a whole.
Ever since ancient Egypt, religion has played a vital role in culture. The government in Egypt is solely based off of religion, specifically Islam, which is the official state religion of the country. About 94.9% of Egypt is Islam, 5.1% Christian, and Judaism and others are about 1%. Egyptian government does not embrace religious freedoms unless it is one of those three. The government of Egypt must approve a religion for it to be freely practiced, and until then you will not be recognized as an individual if you convert to a different belief system. To obtain freedom to practice a religion other than ones that have been approved, one must send a request to the Department of Religious Affairs, and then they would determine if the religion request would be a threat to national peace or not. The last recognition being granted was in 1990, so it is rare. Even though Islam, Judaism, and Christianity is accepted, Islam is preferred, and Christians, Jews, and other religions don't often get treated equally. If someone is found practicing an unapproved religion in Egypt, they are taking the risk to be arrested, prosecuted, and/or punished. Islamic citizens are growing in population because Christians and Jews do not have the same rights, therefore they're leaving. Even though the Christian community that belongs to the Coptic Orthodox Church was once the main religion in Egypt before Islam, the Christian community has often been targets of hate crimes and haven't been able to build or repair their churches that have been destroyed. Authorities have often failed to take action against those who have indulged in hate crimes against Christians. Most of the Jewish population immigrated to Israel or the United States in the last 50 years or were forced out of the country in the 1950s. The Jews that are left in Egypt face restrictions in marriage for multiple reasons, some being Jewish men can't marry Muslim women, and Jewish women must convert to Islam to marry Muslim men. These reasons have severely decreased the Jewish population in Egypt. With the majority of the nation being Muslim, there are mosques scattered across all of Egypt. The holy day in Islam is Friday, so each Friday, many businesses, schools, and offices are closed, and all Muslims meet at a mosque for prayer at noon. Each religion has holidays, and the main Islamic holidays are Ramadan, Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, Islamic New Year, and the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. Each of these holidays are celebrated by the community. All in all, Egyptian religion varies vastly compared to other religions of the world, but everyday expressions of faithfulness towards their beliefs and faiths are common among all religious groups around the world. There will always be a level of compassion and devotion towards what they believe in.
All in all, as you can see, Egypt is a country full of lots of culture.
We hoped you learned more about the literature, arts, traditions, and religion found in Egypt.
Thank you for listening to our World in Our World presentation.